Hi everyone, Natasha here, and around my home today I am in my office and I want to share with you my current planner stack so you can see how I've updated and tweaked things along the way this year so far. So welcome to my office. First, let me say this looks like a lot, but truly this isn't what I work in every single day. There are certain pieces that I have in different areas of my home for different purposes. So let me set these two stacks aside and we'll quickly go through the ones that are just on the periphery, and then I'll dive a little deeper into the ones that I'm using day in, day out with a little more detail. First, we'll start with my planner for direct sellers from Belinda Elsworth. And this is something that I use mostly just for setting up my month in my Jordan Essentials business. I have decided after a little bit of time using it that really I don't need these hourly spreads. I did go through about 2 weeks ago and I really laid one out. Let me find that. So here you can see an attempt at really just using it to its fullest. So I've plugged in everything I could think of that would matter to how I plan my Jordan Essentials business. I did a brain dump of all the tasks I wanted to do, not just that week, but like in the month of April, and even used some of the space down here at the bottom for some weekly to-dos. And after spending all the time to do that and making it look so pretty and nice, I went through the week and didn't really refer to it anymore. And so that made me truly realize I don't need to spend the time to do this hourly layout. It also helped me understand that I think I really do not work well on an hourly system. Whenever I've done this before, about the only benefit that I personally gain from it is just seeing the pockets of time that I have to work on my Jordan Essentials business. And in some ways that's helpful, but at the same time, I know when those times are because there's so few. It's not like I spend all of my time working on that. I have all these other, side jobs and responsibilities that happen. And so I know that I only have limited pockets of time to work on my Jordan Essentials business. So what I've decided to do is just to keep using this monthly spread. I do like how this monthly spread has lots of room to plan and lay things out. I started making my own stickers just using these Avery multi-purpose removable labels, and I like how that's working. I can quickly and easily make up new stickers anytime I need. I've made blank ones, so things like this where I can just write it in. And basically this helps with my overall planning for my business and seeing the month at a broad view and getting a big picture view of my month. And I like that this planner has lots of room to write, and there are lines. I'm not sure if you can see them in the camera, but there are faint lines on each square, which works out well. And I like that she even has a spot here for expenses, so it helps me remember to keep track of those. And then the other way that I like using this planner is this monthly dashboard where she gives you some things to think about. She gives you the holidays. She gives you places to plan things with your social media business and your just your direct selling business in general, and then a place to set out goals and keep track of stats. So I have decided that's the main reason that I want to use this planner, is just setting out the month, kind of referring back to those monthly big picture views, and then using this for some tracking and planning each month. But the hourly is not something that I'm going to keep using going forward unless I just have a week where I feel like I need it. So that's the first planner, is the Belinda Elsworth planner for direct sellers. And again, if you're someone that likes using the hourly planner, this may be totally ideal and all that you need, but I've just realized I'm a lister and not an hourly planner. So this one has its specific purposes, and that's it. The next planner is this one that I Franken-planned. So this started out as a family planner that came from Aldi at the beginning of 2021, I believe. I put that sticker on there. And so this year for 2022, what I did was just open the O-rings and take everything out and put in what I wanted in this planner. And so what I've been using this for is my social media planning. And this is another one that I don't always use it, but when I feel like I need it, then it's there. And so I hodgepodge and put together two different things. So this spread, these spreads that have the divided sections are from the family planner that Aldi had last year. And I've decided to use the sections for my different social media channels and things I want to keep track of. And what it came with was a lot of things like this, a chore chart. There's all kinds of stuff that was in the back that's like keeping track of your child's, doctor and school and friends and all that stuff. And those items that I wanted to use, I pulled out and I put in a separate planner that stays in the kitchen. And that is just our family planner that has more resources for the household and then our family budget. And that's working well as something I just refer to mainly for the budget each week. And then periodically, if I need, to call the doctor or something like that, I have those numbers in the back. You can see that the monthly overview page is a little different. It does not have lines. It does have a little more space top and bottom. So I have been using that, again, mostly just kind of for big picture things, but I'm trying not to be duplicating the information. So this I used more for brainstorming some of the things that I want to do in my social media posts and focus, and that way it just helps me focus in on social media. And then these pages came from the wellness planner. So Aldi did have a wellness planner last year as well. And I liked some of the pages in them, and the Aldi planners were $7. So I felt like it was worth it just to get a couple of them that I liked pieces out of, and then to be able to put together whatever I wanted out of those pieces. And they were all undated, so that's nice that I could always use them for something. But this section here I did use a few months ago. So here you can see in the month of February, I used it where I really focused in and had listed out all kinds of things. And I did like that, but there's just months where I don't really feel like I need to do that. And then I copied the content calendar from Belinda Elsworth's planner and put that in here as just a guide to give me ideas when I'm planning out social media. And then this I used for, setting some goals for my business. And I did like doing that month, but I just haven't gone in to do anything for the month of April. So again, those are kind of there. I can use them or not use them. But mainly I've been using it for these weekly spreads when I feel like I know I need to get a lot of posts done, or I want to plan out my posts, and this lets me do my social media planning. Next up is this notebook, which is a Filofax notebook I got quite a few years ago, and I liked it because it has the O-ring binding and it uses the disc punch type paper, so I could take things in and out and move things around pretty easily, which I like that flexibility in things like this where it's just sort of general note taking. It's not something that's going to be like a keepsake. It's just more for the use of it. So what I've mainly been doing is very gradually this year, as I come up with something that I feel like I need to make it a routine and have a checklist to follow up with things, I've been building that checklist and putting it in here. So this has become my routines notebook mainly for my business. So what started out as things like this, where I was just kind of brain dumping and jotting down things on little Post-it notes, then I've been turning that into something like this, where I actually make a tracker and have a way to easily keep track of the steps along the way. This one, I have actually started brain dumping it. So this is going to be the information that goes on this monthly reset page, because I felt like at the beginning of each month, I always sit down and want to plug in all the same information into my planners and my calendars and all the places. And it would just be nice to have one place to refer to make sure I'm not forgetting anything, and also to see my progress and see what I still need to do. So that's something I'm going to be working on this week, is just setting this out where these monthly reset tasks are all plugged into here, and then I can just check off when I've done them each month. I also have things like this. So I have a checklist for tracking when I have new customer orders come in, to make sure that I've followed up and put them in all of the places. So I do use the Amy app, which is a great digital way to keep track of your customer follow-ups. But if I don't put them in the Amy app, then it doesn't work. And there's also things like sending out a little thank you card. And if it's someone that's brand new, I want to make sure I send them a catalog and some samples. So there's just all these steps along the way of plugging in a new customer into my business that I wanted to make sure I was doing. So I just created this one, haven't started filling it out yet, but that's what this notebook is for, is just creating all these routines that I can refer back to when I need them. This page is the back of one for customer follow-ups. I'm not going to turn the page because it has all kinds of names on it. But basically it was just, again, keeping track of the months of the year and if I had contacted them at least once that month. So sort of a backup to the Amy app. But what I liked about it is that way it made me think about people that I hadn't thought of in a while. So if they didn't get automatically populated in my Amy app follow-ups, then I could refer to this list as a little backup and see, is there someone else that I need to reach out to that I haven't talked to in a while? So this is my routines notebook, and it's just something I refer to when I need it, when I'm in the process of doing one of those routines. Okay, I showed this in my last video. So I did the unboxing where I unboxed some of my Erin Condren warehouse sale items, and so one of them was this Folio, and I switched out what I was using into this one to make it more like a spring and bright color. So I have my leftover daily planners. So what I've been doing is, if I feel like I need it, sometimes I use this as just a brain dump area for to-do items. I've again realized I'm a lister, and that's how my brain works the best, is just to get those tasks out that I've been thinking about, and then to focus in and get as much done as I can in whatever time I have to do it. So I don't use this every day. When I do use it, I just white over the dates because they're all old. This is from 2020, but it is something that is useful from time to time. And I like keeping this down in my kitchen because in the evenings, sometimes I just need to brain dump all the stuff I've been thinking of as I go through the day. So this gives me a quick, easy way to do it. And if I want to divide it out either by the time of day that I'm going to do something tomorrow, or the areas of my life, so this can be business, personal, and home, that kind of thing, then it's a quick way to divide out those lists. The next thing I have in here is my meal planner. This is an Erin Condren meal planner, and I just put a sticker on there from a Recollections, I think it was like Southern Home sticker book. So this has been working good. I use this as my meal planner, and then also my place to jot down a shopping list when I'm getting ready to place an Instacart order. So we do have these little notepads that hang on the side of the fridge, and so that way anyone in the household can add things to them. Like my daughter added ramen, and that gives me the place to start. But then as I'm working on my meal plan for the next week, I'll plug in whatever's missing so that when I sit down to do my Aldi Instacart order, I can make sure I have everything there. So that is working well, and that just stays, this whole book just stays at my desk in the kitchen as a reference. And the final thing in here is my gardening bullet journal, and I have a video about that, so I'll link that below. And this is one where, again, we're just kind of using it seasonally. So right now, this is the list I came up with this spring just to brain dump these chores. So I'm still gradually working on getting the last couple of things done here, and that's why it's fine just to have this in the kitchen as well, because usually if I'm gonna go work outside, then I'll look in here and see what is it I'm trying to get done today. So this one is just a reference that stays in the kitchen. Mainly I use it for the meal planner and then sometimes the other two planners. Okay, this is my 5-year memory book. So I have, this is the second one. I have one that I completed for the first 5 years of my daughter's life. She is about to turn 8 in a few months. So I'm into the middle of this second book, and each morning I just jot down a few notes about the day before, either something, you know, more just about our schedule and what we did, or something funny she said, or something memorable that I don't want to forget. So I use this in the mornings while I'm having my coffee. I just sit down for a few minutes and fill out that little section, and that is something that just stays in the kitchen. I have a little cubby where I have a basket of things like this that I use for my morning coffee time. Next, we have my Fly Lady Control Journal Clipfolio, and I have a video where I explained, actually I have two videos, one where I talk about the main daily planning part of this and the control journal part of it, and then a second one where I just talk about the zone cleaning. So this again just lives at the desk in my kitchen, and I just go through it periodically throughout the day and kind of check off my lists. So it's not something I have to do a whole lot of planning in. I just rotate out the sheets, and then like in the back I also have my zone cleaning for the week, and I just check off what I've done. So this is my Fly Lady Control Journal Clipfolio. Okay, now we're getting into the stuff that I use a little more often, and it's a little more of the core of my planning system. So I shared the unboxing of Erin Condren items I got from the warehouse sale, and I also at the same time had ordered just a couple of things from the Happy Planner because they were having a big clearance as well. So some of what I got I have stuck in here. This is just sort of a catch-all note paper notebook kind of a thing. So I put this cover on the front. This came from like a little Happy Planner pack, and I just laminated it to make it sort of a cover. So what I got in that last batch of things were these note pages, and I got two different kinds, this one and this one, and I just got them because I felt like what I've been realizing is I work the best where I can just brain dump and then kind of organize that list a little bit and work from that list. And so I wanted to have a couple of options and some pretty paper to do that brain dump on where I didn't worry about saving it in a notebook. It was just something I could recycle once I was done with that list, but it gave me a place to get it out of my head and actually start doing those things. So through the process of figuring out that I am not someone that really needs an hourly planner, I really just need a list. What I've started doing is each evening I will go through and just do a brain dump and jot down some of the things that I know I need to get done in the next day. And I've even been doing this little hourly section, and I have hourly planners, and I know I just said I'm not an hourly planner, but this process of actually writing it out makes me think through what I'm going to be doing with my day. And it helps me to remember like where I have to be at certain times, but then also where are those pockets of time. So I like actually writing it out when I need to, but I don't, for some reason, it doesn't register in my brain the same way when there's a pre-printed hourly planner that I would go through and just plug in the information. And the other reason why this works so well is because a lot of times I am up at 3:30 in the morning with my husband. So he works a job where he does 4 10s. Often he's doing overtime and doing 4 12s. And so he leaves really early in the morning. He gets up at 3:30 and he's usually gone by 4. And so it helps me to actually have some time where I can set out those hours in the morning, those early morning hours where I'm going to be doing the majority of my work for the day on whatever it is, and to be able to have this place where I can just write down those hours exactly as they are for me is the ideal situation, because I've never found a planner other than a 24-hour planner that would have 3:30 in the morning as your start time. So that's kind of what started all this, is I just felt like, okay, I need to just kind of figure this out on a day-by-day basis because each day is different. And the other thing is, it started out kind of here. I just wanted to have a place where I could brain dump everything, figure out my day, and then go from there. And so I've used some of these, which are the daily pages I had gotten previously. I think I have a video about that unboxing, so I'll link that below. So this is the Papillon collection from the Happy Planner. So sometimes I like these daily pages. Sometimes I've just been grabbing one of those notes pages and doing it more like this, where I just sort of get it all out. I don't even do the hourly. But having this place and doing it the night before has really transformed my planning, because what I was realizing is in the morning, if I did all my planning in the morning, I'm tired, I'm not thinking as clearly, I'm sort of sipping my coffee and taking my time, but inevitably then my planning process could take an hour, and that just wasn't really what I was looking for. So when I started doing it the night before, I was just doing this in between, cleaning up dinner and getting my daughter ready for bed and just, shutting down the kitchen for the night, that kind of thing. So it was a quicker process, and then it felt so much better to get up in the morning, have my coffee and do my little bit of journal and reading time, but then know that I already had a list I could go to, and it was just a matter of starting on the list. It wasn't a matter of coming up with the list. So it's really made my morning time a lot more productive and helped me avoid that long drawn out planning time where I'm really not being that productive. I'm just enjoying the process of planning. So I feel like I have to have a balance. I do like making it pretty. I like having it seem neat and functional, but if I can do more of that the night before when I'm winding down for the day, then in the morning it helps me just get going on things. And that inevitably is what I'm looking for, because I do have limited time. You know, I've got a lot of other responsibilities, as we all do. And so I want to make the most of the time I have to do whatever those tasks are in the morning. So that has really transformed my planning for the moment. And I'm really enjoying this whole system of just grabbing whatever note paper I feel like in the evening and jotting down notes and setting out my schedule and kind of thinking about the next day. And then along with that, I use my everyday planner. So this is my Erin Condren Focus Planner. And this focus planner goes with me everywhere. So this is the core planner that I'm still using. And I use this to just plan out my week and get a quick overview of what's happening. It's a place that I can jot down my errands and my contacts that I need to make for the week. I can see the family schedule quickly, but it isn't, what I was finding is it wasn't enough room for that brain dump and those task lists, because I do like keeping it where the items that are listed on each day are the things that I actually want to try and get done that day. And so if I have that extra page where I can brain dump, then it lets me pull out what are the key priorities from that big list that I need to try and plug in for the day. And especially on the days that I am working outside of the home, then I just take this planner with me, and it has my schedule, and it also has those key things that I was trying to get done for the day that are separate from the giant brain dump. So this one has been my key planner still. I'm still using this as like a catch-all that goes with me everywhere. I take it to work with me. I take it when I'm just out running errands with the family on the weekend, because it has everything in it. And that has worked really well too, to keep this as my main planner and then just supplement with those daily notes pages where I can just brain dump. And then the only other thing that I have in my system that I'm still using from time to time is this bullet journal from One Canoe 2. And this is more of my note taking for long term. So the books I'm reading, I'm taking notes in here. If I'm planning something out, this is where I open a page and just start planning it. So it is truly functioning like a bullet journal. And often I take this with me as well when I leave and go to work, because it just travels with me as a place to take notes. But I didn't want to fill up all the pages with those daily brain dumps, because I feel like once I've dumped that information onto the page then and worked through it and like processed it, then I don't need to keep that page, and I just want to be able to recycle that page. So I was avoiding using this because I didn't want to fill it up with just all these lists of things to do. I wanted to make this more of a reference and something that I would refer back to long term. And when the year is over, then this will get stored along with my catch-all planner. So these two will be like my 2022 planners and notebooks that I will refer to kind of long term for any memory keeping, but I don't need to fill this up with just my daily task list. So that's what I've been using. Hopefully that's given you some ideas, or maybe just helped you think a little bit more through the process of how you're planning. Like I mentioned, I love planning on paper, and if I'm not careful, I can make it turn into this hours-long process. And if I had the time and nothing else to do, that would be one thing, but I really don't. I really need to kind of limit that time to some key hours and key points in the day, but then also keep moving and going forward. The Fly Lady always talks about that, and I have to remind myself too, just to make the list and then keep going and don't get stuck in making the list, which is what I can tend to do if I'm not careful. So hopefully that's given you some ideas, or just been a fun way to see what I'm currently using in my planner system. I hope you're enjoying the spring season if you're here in the Northern Hemisphere, or if it's fall for you, I'm hoping that you're enjoying that. Happy Easter to those of you that celebrate Easter. I hope you have a blessed one, and thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions, just drop them down below. And like I said, I will link all the videos I mentioned in the description box. If you like these kind of planner videos, then give me a thumbs up and let me know. And don't forget to subscribe, and have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.